name's Lani Petrie. I'm the owner of Kapapala Ranch in Kau on the Big Island of Hawaii. The ranch was started in 1860. This land belonged to the king. It's crown land. And it was leased to the first two entrepreneurs that started the ranch. The ranch has been in business for 165 consecutive years. And we are the fourth operating owner. We've been here since 1977, so 48 years now that my family's been here. My mom and dad and I were partners. My mom and dad are both gone now. My husband and I run the ranch. We do have a son and a daughter and another son that lives. We have two that live in Alaska, one that lives here. Hope there's some sort of succession, but it still seems like mom does all the work. So this ranch is 34,000 acres right now. It was at one point 300,000 acres. It nestled between the summit of the active volcano Mauna Loa and the active volcano Kilauea. Over the years, lands have been whittled out for national parks and forest reserves, and today we're down to 35,000 acres, in which we are losing another 7. We'll be down to about 25 to 26,000 acres. But we'll be able to get a long-term lease on ag terms. With two volcanoes between the ranch, we have a lot of lava, and most of the grazing land is in pockets of where we have soil, where the lava came down and it just didn't cover an old formation of soil. And so we, of 35,000 acres, about less than 10,000 is grazable. And we spend a lot of money piping water to those grazable spots. But it works for us today in this environment, in this economy. And I'm soon to be 66 years old and don't plan on going anywhere. So keep fixing pipe and building fence and raising cows. Hawaii is obviously an island state, and we're no strangers to shipping. Crossing the water is something that the Hawaiians did. They brought their animals from Polynesia. We're no strangers to moving animals across the ocean. Years ago, even when we had a local market, whatever we raised in Hawaii stayed in Hawaii and was consumed here. We still had to ship to the population centers, which was really Oahu, Honolulu. Some pretty elaborate styles of loading cattle, even from dragging one at a time out into the surf and hooking them up to longboats and taking them out, rowing them out to a ship where a boom picked them up and they loaded them one by one. To today, we load cattle and ship cattle mostly to the States. We don't import grain anymore, which we did from like the 1960s to the 1980s. But again, we ship livestock all the time. And so when it was time for us to make the move it was in the 90s, that the whole industry shifted because one of the slaughterhouses got caught in urban sprawl and was condemned. And that the owners of that plant weren't going to rebuild it. So there was a huge shift. In 1992, 90% of the cattle grown in Hawaii were consumed in Hawaii. In 1993, that was exactly the opposite. 90% of the cattle raised here were shipped to the West Coast. know, hundreds of years ago, the ships brought provisions. They brought live cattle. They brought goats. They brought sheep. They brought dairy animals. But, you know, nobody really thought about bringing wolves or mountain lions. And, of course, the animals flourished here. But in nature, they don't naturally function that way. In nature, herding animals need predators. And in Hawaii, these animals learn, they're not conditioned to predation. Now, they're hardwired to predators. And so we've always used stock dogs. My dad was one of the first people 70, 80 years ago to bring dogs, working dogs, into the program. It helps the animals do what they're supposed to do, like go get their calf, instead of, especially in these rotational grazing, the cows here think about going to get something to eat before they worry about where the calf is. And so by using dogs, and it doesn't mean they got to go out there and stir anything up. It's just the stance. And that's all it takes is the stance for a herd animal to get a response that's in their DNA. And so we use stock dogs on our cattle and our goat herds. Speaking about goats, predation on goats, pigs are the biggest predator to our goat herds. And when we used to open graze, we used to lose a lot of goats during kidding. I used to think it was just the goats that still had afterbirth, maybe a day or two old. But one day I saw, probably a month-old animal, maybe even 2-month-old animal. I was bringing the goats in at night. We have a night pen. We used to have a night pen. And I saw a big pig run out and grab about a almost 20-pound goat and carry it off. And I went, oh, no wonder I can never get my inventory straight. And from about that point on, we shifted gears and we went to electric netting fence. We use herders that we bring in under the H2A program to move those nets. It's very labor intense. At this ranch, we realized a long time ago that the best tool for managing plants that we didn't want was goats. Yes, aren't you sweet? We actually needed the dogs too, because managing these goats, our biggest problem was theft. And once we got the guard dogs, our theft problem went away. And we've been able to use the goats to manage land in such a powerful way that, just look. We've been at it for about 45 years. We run about 1,500 goats, 2 bands of does, and 1 band of yearlings. These are the yearlings. We keep all of the females and we sell the males. We have a ethnic market in our state, but it still doesn't pay for the management style that we're doing. This is not a profit center. Goats are not a profit center for us. Goats are a line item on our P&L statement. And you can't replace what they can do with herbicide or mechanical management of brush, because it's kind of nature's way to use grazing animals to manage certain plants. And but we're very precise about what we're asking them to eat, when and where and how. So that's what we do. So, like I said earlier, we've been here for 48 years. And when we first came, there was one water tank that held 7,000 gallons of water, and that was it. We, we we invest heavily in water because it's better than money in the bank. Having water in a reservoir like this. We built this in 1999. It's just under 4 million gallons. We did, in the drought of 2010, we emptied it. And I hope we don't get that far again, but we are probably down not quite to half capacity. It's feeling a little nerve-wracking right now, but since then, in 2015, we completed a 5 million gallon reservoir that's above us, which can feed this reservoir. And that reservoir that's higher in elevation is still in the rainforest. So even in a drought, we'll get more rain up there than we will down here. And we have all the pipes that we can alleviate moving water from up there to down here. But anyway, this ranch is, again, lava flows with pockets of soil. So we have, one of our biggest expenses is distribution of water. We have over 110 miles of pipeline, trying to strategically get water to where there's pockets of soil and vegetation that animals can live on, especially in what we call the big country. Later, I'll take you and show you what we call the farm fields, but still water is important to everything we do.